Hello everyone, welcome to Conceptual Learning. Today I'm going to talk about very important topic. Whether you are a PhD student applying for a research scholarship or trying to get funded projects, the selecting committee, PhD committee, or in a research organization may ask you to submit your research proposal. The research proposal is the first step into the research career. This research proposal basically describes what the key objectives, contribution, or the proposed methodology you are going to do in your research career. If I'm talking about students who are trying to get a scholarship and the selectors ask them to submit the research proposal, they get panicked, they get stressed, and thinking that no, I cannot write a research proposal. But in this video, I'm going to tell them in a very easy way that how you can write a research proposal. I'm going to explain every aspect of the research proposal to make it easy for you so that you can write it in a very well manner. Please do not hesitate while writing a research proposal and thinking in a wrong way that it is a very difficult thing for you. This is a very easy way to write a research proposal. The research proposal is basically your proposed methodology, your proposed research that's not final, it's not fixed. You can revise it, you can re-edit it, you can rewrite proposal when you are actually in research career. Okay, so before going into detail, if you are new to my channel, please like this video and subscribe my channel so that you can get the latest update on scholarship opportunities in Europe. Okay, so why research proposal? Okay, so as I mentioned, the reason may be research scholarship. When you are applying for a research scholarship, the selecting committee may ask you to submit a research proposal for funded projects. When you are applying, like the collaborators, professors, those who have a budget, they first apply for this through the research proposal. So the research proposal is also for the funding projects to get the funding projects. And third one is to getting involved in PhD research. If you are already in PhD, so in the first task you have to do is to write a research proposal that you're going to present in your first year. Okay. So the things to be considered here, the important things that needs to be considered while writing a research proposal. First things, please do not panic yourself. When you hear, I have many students contacted me to write a research proposal. When they hear that they have to write a research proposal, they are getting very panicked, very tensed, overthinking that we cannot write it. It's a very difficult thing. Yes, I do agree that when you are doing it first time, it seems to be difficult for you. But if you will think that you cannot write a research proposal, then you will not be able to write it. Okay, so what you have to do is that whenever you have a research topic for what you are applying for, like if you're applying for a scholarship and you know the research domain, what comes in your mind, just write all those things. So what you have to do is basically you have to think about your research topic. Okay, maybe you can read a little bit about this. And whatever is coming in your mind at first sight, write it, take a note. Okay, write it separately and it will be a helpful in the next steps. Okay. And final, as I already mentioned in my previous slide, that the research proposal, many students think that this is going to be final. I mean, whatever we are going to write it now, we have to do it at any cost. But that is not the case. As I told you, that it is a proposed research. Okay, so you are proposing that you will be doing this. These are my research objectives, and this will be expected outcome, and this will be the timeline, so on. But that's not final. Okay, you will be doing a research, you will be dive into a research, you will be reading a literature review, start reading papers, and then may you change your research objectives, methodology, and contribution, and so on. So many students do not attempt to write because of this particular fact that this is going to be a final and I am not able to do it, so on. So please, this is not your final. This is your initial step in the research. Okay, so you are going to propose that can be changed later on. Okay. Okay, so the next slide is okay. So these are the main three building blocks for any research proposal. The number one is research problem, research design, and the contribution to the scientific community. I'm going to explain each of them so that you can understand what is the meaning of them. Okay. Number one is the research problem. The research problems, once you will do a literature review, you will identify what are the current major problems which the scientific community is facing in your particular research domain. You will come to know the research scape and problem statement. Once you have a research problem in your mind, then you will develop how to tackle that problem, how to solve that problem. And solving that problem will require some key research objectives. Okay, you will identify those objectives, and after obtaining those objectives, you will look what proposed methodology you have in your mind that is going to implement for resolving or for getting that objectives, which ultimately resolving the research problem. Once you have these, then you have to think one thing as well, that what is the solution or what will be the novelty or the contribution to the scientific community? Why you are resolving this problem actually? What will be the benefit to the research community after resolving this problem? Okay, so these are main building blocks for any research problems so that you have to take in account before writing the research proposal. Okay, okay, so let's have a look to the research proposal writing. Okay, so I have divided this into three steps. Basically, the three steps are defining these, what we have to do. So number one step is the research problem. Okay, and for the research problem, what will you do is basically number one is literature review. You will start reviewing the literature, start reading the research papers in your research domain. Okay, I would recommend you to start reviewing the systematic review papers in order to get more details about the current research domain which you are looking for. Okay, and once you do a literature review, you will identify research problems, research gaps. Okay, and then you will develop your interest in this research. Okay, so the next thing is what is the significance of the research problem which you identified through a literature review? So this is your step one. You have to identify, take out the research problem from the literature review. Okay. Step two is design methodology. Once you have a research problem, then what will you do is that you will set your key research objectives to tackle that problem. Okay, so the research objectives can be three, can be four, can be five, up to you. But those objectives should be achievable and to tackle the problem which you identified from the literature review. Okay, and how your objectives are linked with your research problem. That's mandatory. It is not only to set a research objectives, which is very basic one. The objectives should be selected in a such a way that they are going to resolve the research problem. Okay. And those objectives, how will you achieve those objectives? What is your proposed methodology? What algorithms? What hardware and software? What resources you will be using to tackle that problem, to resolve and to get your research objectives is known as a design methodology. Okay. And in step three is contribution. That is very important of your research proposal, that what are the possible or expected outcomes from your research problem. Okay. So once you have a research problem, once you have a research objectives and methodology, then the problem is that to identify once you resolve these objectives, what will be the contribution to the scientific community? What will be the possible or expected outcomes? Okay. So that is the contribution and the work plan. Work plan is that how you are going to set your objectives in timeline. which objectives you are going to look at first, and how will you do it, in what duration you are going to finish it. Okay, so you have to basically make a time plan and the work plan so that you can work in a better way. This is mandatory because when you're applying for a PhD scholarship or either for funding opportunities, you have to tell them that we have this work plan for 3 years or 4 years, and we are going to do it in this way. For suppose in first year, we will be able to achieve two objectives, one publication, and so on. So this is important in research proposal. Okay, do not miss it. You have to include the work plan and the timeline of your research objectives and the contributions. Okay. Okay, so these were the three steps which you have to take into account while writing a research proposal. Now, in these steps, which paragraphs, what you have to write? Let's get those things. Okay. So firstly, you have to, in the step one is like, you have to write an introduction of your research, little bit background, and then literature review, and then the research problem. Okay, this is how your step one is. Okay, now what you will write an introduction, background, literature review, and the research problem. Basically, writing a research proposal is composed of the research questions or the questions. Okay, so in the introductions, you will be having identifier. You have to look at these questions to fit into your introduction section. So the thing is that what is the major research problem in your current research domain? Okay, you have to identify those. And how is your topic related to that problem? Which methods you are going to implement to analyze the research problem? And what is the significance of this study which you are doing? Okay. And in the background, you have to write a little bit background on our view of your research topic. What is the present scenario and all those things. Okay. And in the literature review, you have to develop your concepts, theories, and you have to go through the survey papers to study. And after survey papers, you will come to know the different technical papers, and then you will get involved in the research more deeply, and you will identify a research problem in the research game. Okay. Once you have a research problem, research gap, then you will mention that what is the importance of this research problem, why nobody has tackled or resolved this problem. If someone has resolved this problem, which method they have used, what is their novelty, what was their contribution, and what you are doing, what you are trying to do it. Let's compare your research and other research which have been already done on that particular topic. Okay, so this is the step one, which is more detailed, and you have to write this introduction, background, literature review, and the research problem. Okay, so the next step is research aims and objectives, scope, and the significance of the research, and then the proposed methodology. As I mentioned you, when you are having a research problem, then you will set a key research objectives to tackle to solve that research problem. And in order to do your research objectives, you will set a methodology that is going to be a proposed methodology, that how you are going to achieve those objectives which you have set for your research proposal. And this methodology will be consisting of different resources which you will be needing, different hardware and softwares, which principles, which programming language, softwares you are going to use for my post methodology. So let's have a look what is the research aims and objectives. Obviously, you will be setting 4 to 5 or more than that or below than that research objective that you are going to do for your research problem. Okay. The scope of the research. Once you have the problem in your mind and your research solution in your mind, then you have to look into the novelty and the scope and the significance of that solution which you are presenting into your research community. What is the benefit or what is the significance or knowledge or the results which you are presenting for the research community? It's very important. And then your proposed methodology, in that you will be designing your block diagram and you will be presenting that how you start your research for this particular research problem. So what you will basically do, what you will write is actually that you will be looking into your research problem and then your solution, your objectives, and you will propose your methodology that, okay, for data collection, I will be needing that device. And for analyzing that data, I will be working on some machine learning algorithms, and I'm comparing that algorithms with already existing traditional algorithms and so on. So this is how your proposed methodology look like. Should be in a detailed and concise way so that the committee should understand that what are you going to do in your research. Okay. Mention the resources which you will be required. Mention devices which you will be working on. Mention data sets which you will be working on. And what programming language you will use in your research is mandatory as well. Okay. Okay, so the next step is the last step, which is what you will be writing in the final section of your research proposal. That is, what are the expected outcomes? What is the contribution to the research community? And then conclusion and the references. Okay, so in the expected outcomes, these are the two questions. What will be the expected possible outcomes of your research study? So you have to think a little bit on it when you are having a research problem, when you are having a research objective and design methodology, and when you are resolving this research problem, then what do you think that it is going to impact in the research society? That is basically the expected outcomes, maybe in terms of accuracy, maybe in terms of precision, or any solution or knowledge or information that is beneficial for your research community is an expected outcome. Okay. The second question which should be considered is, will the results of your research able to resolve to justify the research problem? That is important. Okay, so it is mandatory that your results or the outcomes of your research should justify the problem which you mentioned in your research problem section. Okay, because if you are doing something else and your results and outcome does not justify the research problem, does not resolve the research problem, then there is no need to write the research proposal, objectives, and all these things. So it's mandatory that your outcomes should justify the research problem which you mentioned in your research proposal. The next thing is contribution. Okay, so as I already mentioned a couple of times, that the significance and the novelty of your contribution is very important. Okay, the solution which you provided, how much it provides the solution or impact of your research problem towards the research community. Either you are providing a solution, results, and information, knowledge, comparison, accuracy, precision, or either you are introducing any new algorithm that is better than the previous algorithms and so on. So tell them the contribution and novelty and the importance of your solution of your research problem. Okay, so the last is conclusion and references. Okay, in conclusion, what you do basically, you summarize your research proposal. Okay, and you present the findings of your research study, the applications, okay, the applications of your findings, that what application can be implemented based on your findings in your research. Okay, mention the limitations of your research. What is the limitations? Means that those are out of scope of your research. You're not looking into those things. You should mention that, okay. You will be not covering those area of your research domain. Okay. And what the limitation it will be. For suppose if you're working on something that to develop an algorithm, but you do not care about the accuracy, you care the algorithm computational complexity and the implementation of the algorithm as compared to other algorithms. So that is another significant contribution to the research. Okay. So mention those limitations that you are not pointing towards the your solution. Okay. And at the end, after this, you will highlight the references. Okay, you cite your references in your research proposal throughout your research proposal, mostly in the literature section, which research paper you have studied, which survey papers you have studied, or from where you have obtained this information. You have to cite those papers and you have to list the all references at the end of your research proposal so that the committee can see that which references you have been used for this research proposal. For this references, I would say just mention the latest research papers. So cite the latest research papers for your research proposal because it is highly impacted that you are doing a current research in the domain. Okay, and for starting research, it is also highly recommended start with the latest research so that you can find the latest research papers from Google Scholar or any indexed website, and then you will uh, come to know that what research you will be doing. Okay, so that was basically the overall research proposal. I hope that I have explained you very well that you will be able to write a research proposal based on these things which I have mentioned. And if you have any problem in writing a research proposal, so you can contact me always, and I'm there to help you. Okay, so it's very easy. Think in a positive way and start writing a research proposal for your funding, scholarships, and any other opportunities where the research proposals are mandatory. So that's all, and I hope that it's helpful for you. And thank you so much for listening this video.